This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Devin, and welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, almost 50 years ago, so close, oh she my, 49 years ago today, Paul Henderson brought Canada to its knees with a massive goal. Now, I'll give you a little bit about Paul Henderson's career, notwithstanding in the Summit Series. So Paul Henderson played 13 years in the NHL for Detroit, Toronto, and Atlanta. Well, the Atlanta Flames for the category. He spent 5 years in the WHA for Toronto and Birmingham. So he played over 1,000 games between the two leagues, scoring 376 goals. He won a Memorial Cup with Hamilton. Of course, everyone knows he's the hero for what he did in the 72 Summit Series. Lots of accolades. He's in the IIHF Hall of Fame, 2013. He's a born-again Christian. Bill will like that. He became a minister, motivator, speaker, and author following his playing career. So he's been part of the Order of Canada since 2012. So anyway, Henderson had a lot of scouts looking at Boston and Detroit's junior affiliates wanted to help. So he went with Detroit because the junior teams were based in Hamilton, closest to his home. So anyway, Paul Henderson won the 1962 Memorial Cup, the team. Well, of course, he was part of the Red Wings organization. So Henderson played okay. Unfortunately, he got into a contract dispute prior to the 66-67 season, and then he had his tracheitis, which meant that he had to wear a surgical mask on the ice. Henderson actually went to Arizona to cure the ailment, but actually suffered from torn chest muscles. Anyway, the Red Wings were not doing that well, so they decided to trade Henderson, Normie Ullman, and Floyd Smith to Toronto for Frank Mahovlich, Gary Unger, and Pete Stamkowski. It's like, Jesus, Toronto wasn't doing that well either, but man, Paul Henderson did a lot of things. So that was kind of a weird trade. From Toronto's point, it was pathetic because of Mahovlich, but I think Mahovlich wanted the trade because of his disagreements with Punch and Black and all that. So anyway, the World Hockey Association, he was a little bit depressed and decided to take his chances with the Toronto Toros of the WHA. Ballard was upset that Henderson would actually head to the WHA after playing for the Leafs and all that. What was funny that Paul Henderson played in the second Summit Series in 74. That was between the Canadian team and a team of WHAers. Canada didn't do so well. I think the expectations were lower. He did okay. So he went to Atlanta. It was weird that Paul Henderson would play for Atlanta. Worst of all, well, for him, he played at Maple Leaf Gardens one time for the Flames, and they won 5-1 over the Leafs, and he got the first star because he scored a pair of goals. Yeah. So his legacy is basically the Summit Series, even though he should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. So he and his wife have 3 daughters, Heather, Jennifer, and Jill. He basically had Birmingham. He was going to be a color commentator for the Leafs, but because of Ballard angry at Henderson for defecting, blocked it. He became a stockbroker, but he couldn't get a work permit. So anyway, he turned to religion after his personal lows in the 74 season. So he studied to become a minister. And in Toronto, under the umbrella of Power to Change Ministries, he formed a men's ministry in Ontario called Leader Impact and travels across Canada. All that. Henderson had chronic leukemia in 2009, but he responded well to treatments. So in his NHL career, he had 236 goals, 407 points in 707 games, and 11 goals in 56 playoff games. But let's talk about the Summit Series. So anyway, Canada and Russia would face each other in an 8-game series. 4 games in Canada, 4 games in the Soviet Union. They would play all 8 games regardless of who would win most. A lot of Canadian people thought that it was going to be 8-0 because Canada had the NHLers, Russia had nothing. But unfortunately, the World Championships were tell different stories. Russia was dominating them, and Canada just couldn't do it. What also sparked problems was that Canada refused to send teams to the World Championships and the Olympics for much of the 70s because of the Eastern European teams like Russia and Czechoslovakia having professional amateurs and all that. They couldn't get anything going, so they basically said to hell with it and refused to send a team to the Olympics and all that. They had a lot of preparation and organization. 2 key members would not be on Canada's team for the Summit Series. Bobby Orr because of his knee injuries and Bobby Hall because he signed a WHA contract. So Game 1 was in Montreal on September the 2nd, 1972, in front of 18,000 fans. So anyway, Canada went on the offensive. They scored 2 goals quickly. Sadly, though, CBC, well, anyway, Canada would fall flat as they gave up 7 goals. Canada lost 7-3. Game 2 was at Maple Leaf Gardens. So a lot of players were coming in. Canada went, instead of Ken Dryden in net, went with Tony Esposito. And Canada ended up winning the game 4-1. Big win for the Canadians, including Peter Mahovlich's massive short-handed goal that was a fan and all that. The Soviets blamed the loss on the officiating because they were American officials. So anyway, Game 3 was in Winnipeg. Canada had a 4-2 lead and choked it. The tie. It ended up being a 4-4 tie. Maybe Canada got overconfident. But yeah, it's not good. Game 4 was in Vancouver. And all of a sudden, it looked bad. Soviets win 4-2. The fans would have none of it and basically booed the players off the ice. Phil Esposito decided to address the nation and tells everyone that to the people across Canada, we tried, we gave it our best, and to the people that booed us, geez, all of us guys are disheartened and we're disillusioned and disappointed at some of the people. So anyway, so after Game 4, it was a 2-week hiatus. The Soviets would play in a domestic tournament, and the Canadians went out to Sweden for exhibition games. And then, of course, they headed to Moscow. But without Vic Hadfield, Rick Martin, and Jocelyn Gouffron, who basically left the team because of lack of playing time. So anyway, Game 5 would happen of the military and all that. So anyway, Phil Esposito fell on a flower stem, landing on his back, and he laughed at his pratfall. Canada had a 4-1 lead at one point, but sadly, though, they couldn't hold it in the third period. That was terrible. Well, Canada was screwed. They needed to win every game to win the series. And Gilles Perreault left Team Canada too. But Game 6 was the Canada win 3-2 thanks to a big goal by Paul Henderson on a 30-foot slap shot. Anyway, the Canadians complained that the German referees were biased because the Soviets only got 4 penalty minutes and Canada only got 31. Anyway, it was not good. But Game 6 also had a dark side as Bobby Clark slashed Valery Harlamov, who was one of the best players in the world at that time. He definitely is a good player. Unfortunately, though, that slash was not good. I know I'm Canadian and all that, but that was kind of stupid. So anyway, Game 7 happened, and Canada won 4-3. Henderson scored his second straight winning goal. So anyway, before Game 8, there was trouble. The Soviets wanted back out of the referee agreement. The Soviets wanted the German pair of referees. And Eagleson said, no way. There was a compromise. The Canadians and Russians could pick only one referee. Canada picked Bata. USSR took Kampala. Oh, well. Canada wanted to give a totem pole to the Soviets. The Soviets said we were canceling the pre-game things, but Team Canada insisted. So anyways, 3-3-1. Canada had a lot to lose. So basically, the country was tuned in to TV sets and all that. Remember, this is 1972. We don't have the technology of internet streaming and easily getting TV channels on like our tablets or our laptops or phones even. So the game was to start at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Many people would watch the game either at work, at school, or students in Toronto being sent home. So anyway, it was huge. Now, CBC and CTV had the agreement to broadcast 4 games each on their main networks. But because of the importance of the game, both CBC and CTV decided to have the game on. This was the most watched sporting event in Canadian history until the 2010 gold medal game between Canada and the United States. Team Canada had some problems. While being down 5-3, Yakushov scored to make it 1-0 Soviets. Anyway. J.P. Parise got in trouble. He swung his stick at Kampala and got a match penalty. Game, set, match, you're out. So Canada went on the power play and Velas Bazuna made it 1-1. However, on another Soviet power play, Luchenko made it 2-1. But Brad Park scored to make it 2-2. But the Soviets in the second period started off with a goal by Vladi Shadrin, 3-2. The Soviets put up a pair of goals, Yakushov and Vasilyev, 5-3 after 2 periods for the Soviets. It didn't look good. But Bill White, defenseman for Canada, scored to make it 5-4. So there was a lot of tension and all that. At 5-4, Yvonne Cornouaille tied the game at 5. But after the Cornouaille goal, the goal judge refused to put the goal light on, despite it was signaled goal on the ice. Alan Eagleson, who was seated across the ice from the Team Canada's bench, attempted to reach the Tigers bench to protest and caused a ruckus in the crowd. Basically, the Soviet police were subduing him. The Canadian players headed over to confront the police. Eagleson was freed, and the coaches escorted him across the ice to the bench. Basically, he shoved his fist to the Soviet crowd and gave the finger to the Soviets. The Soviets would play defensively because the Soviets wanted to accept the tie and win the series on goal differential. So anyway, the final minute of play with Esposito, Cornway, and Peter Mahovlich on the ice, Henderson told Mahovlich that I want to get in. And Bobby Clark was actually supposed to replace Esposito, but Phil didn't come off. Cornway picked up the puck and all that. Henderson fell behind the net, got up to the front of the net where he was uncovered, and Henderson would recover the rebound. The great Foster Hewitt's call. Let's see if I can do it. Cornway has it on that way. Here's a shot. Henderson made a step forward and fell. Here's another shot. Right in front, they scored. Henderson has scored for Canada. It was amazing. And Canada won the game. Phil Esposito had a great game. So Team Canada came back to Canada October 1st, and lots of players were greeted and all that. And after the series, it was reported that the NHL said that the Soviets could bring the Soviet national to play an exhibition game in '73 against Boston, New York, and Chicago. But it didn't take place in '73. But a few years later, exhibition series would take place with Soviet clubs facing NHL clubs. Alan Eagleson was not repentant about his actions during Game 8. Of course. Yeah, the goal judges on several occasions didn't turn on the red light. I think on purpose. All of that. So anyway, Canada had their own things. So yeah, the broadcasting. CBC and CTV split the coverage. CTV was supposed to broadcast 1357 and CBC would be 2468. But because of how big it was in the country, CBC allowed CTV to broadcast Game 8. Foster Hewitt and Brian Conacher were the play and the color commentator of the game. Anyway. So, anyway, René Lecavalier and Jacques Plante did the games on Radio Canada, aka CBC French. Anyway, they said that 16 million Canadians watched Game 8. The weird thing is the national census had it at 21.9 million Canadians. Wow. So anyway. So anyway. Some US TV stations actually picked up the series and all of that. SBK produced it. The games in Canada, Fred Cusick for Boston. And WGBH in Boston would fed the Canadian telecasts and all that. Anyway, the legacy is huge. So, of course, Canada got lucky. They won this whole thing because they were a little overconfident and all that. There are lots of things to talk about. The Hockey Hall of Fame. And a lot of cultural references. One of the famous cultural references come from the Corner Gas episode, the good old table hockey game, which had an 8-game table hockey series based on the 7th series. It referenced a lot of events, all that, including the fans booing Espel's speech after Game 4, Espel's falling on the ice before Game 5. Although it kind of was for Game 6, because Game 5, or was that Game 5? I don't remember. And Henderson's winning goal in Game 8. So yeah, I recommend watching that Chronogas episode because it 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 played out perfectly. Like they referenced a lot of the events that happened in the Summit series, although they tried to deny it. So anyway, here is the list of names for NHLers. Well, Paul Henderson. He put up 10 points in the 8 games. He actually was second on the team next to Phil Esposito at 13. Bobby Clark had 6 points in 8 games. Yvonne Cormier had 5 in 8 games. And who also played? Brad Park played 8 games. Dennis Hall 4. JP Parise 6. Rod Gilbert 6. John Rattel 6. Gary Bergman 8. Ron Ellis 8. Gilbert Perreault 2. Bill Goldsworthy 3. Frank Mahovlich 6. Pete Mahovlich 7. Bill White 7. Wayne Cashman 2. Serge Savard 5. Stan Mikita 2. Brad Berenson 2. Keith Lapointe 7. Mickey Redmond 1. Don Awry 2. Phil Hatfield 2. Rod Sealing 3. And Pat Stapleton 7. So anyway, the goaltending was split between Espo and Dryden. Espo was kind of the better goalie, which was weird. Yeah, so Bobby Orr couldn't play. There were other members of Team Canada that didn't play in the Summit Series. And they basically played against Sweden and Czechoslovakia. They had Jocelyn Gouvermont, Dale Talon, Marcel Dion, Rick Martin, and Eddie Johnston there, but they didn't play. And 3 junior age players were invited to training camp to take part in practices. All 3 were clients of Alan Eagleson. John Van Bexmeer, Billy Harris, and Michelle Larocque, or Bunny Larocque, if you will. I'm surprised Russia had Anatoly Fursov, and he didn't play. And they left it to Tretiak in net. So yeah, beautiful. It was a beautiful time to be part of the Summit Series. I know Liam McGuire has a lot more to say about the Summit Series and all that, but yeah, from a different point of view, things are a whole lot different. So anyway, thanks for watching. This is Jeff Diamond. Adieu.